Hi, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this DIY vinyl roll holder that I made specifically to attach to my Michael's Essex cart. I had seen about 2 other videos that showed how to make a DIY vinyl roll holder using toilet paper tubes or paper towel tubes or the cardboard tube that comes inside your vinyl roll. I know the Cricut brands come with this cardboard. I don't know if they all do, but I know in the Cricut brand roll they have this cardboard tube in the middle. And so this is primarily what I use, so you'll see me cutting and using these in the video. But I did use a few of the toilet paper roll ones, and even though they're more flexible, they wound up working just as well. I made this to attach to the Michael's Essex cart because I love how I can contain everything on this one cart, but I was using up valuable drawer space to store the rolls, and I thought, gosh, if I can find a way to store the rolls outside of the cart but still keep it in a way where everything I needed was in this one mobile cart with me, better still. And another feature about this cart, in case you haven't seen it before, is that it has this fold-up table there, so it gives you a little extra workspace when you're working on it. I've been really happy with this cart so far. I will provide a link to the cart, and if I can find the 2 videos that inspired me to make this, I will also include the links to those too. So let's get started with the video on how to make this.
So the tools you'll need for this project are the cardboard tubes, either the inner tubes from your vinyl rolls or the inner tubes from a paper towel roll, or just the toilet paper tubes. You'll need a hot glue gun. You'll need paint, either spray paint or chalk paint, and you'll need about 10 feet of a wide width ribbon. Now I used the tubes from inside the Cricut vinyl roll, so I used my table saw to cut them down a size, but you don't need to use a power tool. You can use a handsaw, or you can just skip having to make cuts completely and just use the toilet paper roll tubes. I measured the Cricut roll to be about 12 inches, so I thought I was going to make 3 4-inch cuts, but as you can see right there, they didn't quite wind up the same size. And the toilet paper roll tubes are about 4 inches too. So I was aiming for about 4-inch size pieces. It's okay that they didn't wind up being, see, that's me right there comparing my one cut to the toilet paper tube. So they're about that size. It's okay if they don't all wind up exactly the same size, because when I went to glue them together, I was able to just put like pieces next to each other. And here I just measured once and then used my first cut as a guide for my subsequent cuts, just by using painter's tape to attach it. I also measured the height of my Essex cart. 28 inches is what it measured to be. That way I knew about how many rolls I could accommodate in that length of space. And based on that 28 inches, I was able to do 14 rolls. So here I am hot gluing each roll to the one beside it. And like I said, I was able to do 14 rolls for the amount of space that I was working with. And I did 2 rows of this. So this is 1 row of 14 rolls you see me gluing to each other. And then I repeated this process with another 14 rolls. I painted each row of rolls. Like I said, I had chalk paint that I used in this case, but I had spray paint too. I was even thinking of doing like a nice ombre effect from like light to dark with the paints I had, but I just skipped it and simplified and just used the chalk paint. So once I had painted each row of 14 rolls that had already been glued together, I painted them front and back. I let them dry, and now what I'm doing is I'm attaching the 2 rolls to each other. I did this so that A, I could double the amount of rolls that I could store, and also B, that I could separate my iron-on rolls from my other vinyl rolls. And I've been really happy with having this. So I'm just running that bead of hot glue along the top of one, and then I'm just pressing one row onto the other. The Cricut vinyl tubes were thicker and it made this project heavier. The toilet paper tubes were much thinner and I think they worked just well. But I can see here when I was squeezing them together, the toilet paper roll tubes don't have a lot of strength to them, so they could easily squish. Okay, so here is where I'm using the length of ribbon that I said you would need for the project. I Boy, I wish I had prettier ribbon on hand, but we're under quarantine and I didn't think it was worth going out just to buy prettier ribbon. So I used what I had on hand. I had one long length of ribbon that I'll show you later that I used to wrap around both rows of rolls. And then the other length of ribbon that I had, I cut it into 8 strips. Now, I recommended that you have probably about 10 feet of ribbon length. I didn't have that. And so these pieces that I cut here, I wish they were longer, but they're not. So I cut 8 of these pieces to make tie-on straps. So I'm hot gluing 2 straps to the top on one side, 2 straps to the bottom on one side, and then I flip it over and then repeat it. And when I glue them, I'm eyeballing them so that they meet in the center. I didn't measure it to make it precise, but do your best to line them up so that they meet in the middle, so that when we do our next step of putting that ribbon around it, it'll just cover that seam straight down the middle. So now that I've done it on this side, I flip it over, I do it on the next side. So I've already done that. And now here is my other long length of ribbon that I have. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to wrap it around both rows together. And this will, if you weren't going to attach it to the cart like I did, this can serve as like a hanging ribbon. You can then use this to then hang this on your wall. But this was just to give it support as it hangs from my cart. So I'm a little off camera now, but it was easier for me to stand it up and then hot glue the bottom, as you can see there, and then do my starting point there with the ribbon wrapping around the bottom. And now I'm just going to run that bead of hot glue across the top, and when I pull that ribbon taut, it'll hold it all together and it'll cover those seams that I talked about earlier when I did those tie straps. Doing this right here just covers over those seams. Flip it over and repeat on the other side. Oh, I wish I did have prettier ribbon, but I followed the orders, I stayed home, and this project cost me $0. This was everything I already had on hand. So now that that's complete, I'm going to take it over to my cart and attach it. Now the Essex cart, the top is removable. So I removed the top, I tied the straps left and right on the top, and because this is heavy, like I said, those Cricut vinyl rolls are pretty heavy, I put a box on the bottom to help hold it up, to help keep the weight up while I worked with it. Now here I realized that I tied it too tight, too short, because you can see the strap is blocking access to the top 2 tubes. So because that strap is blocking access to the tubes, I couldn't insert rolls there if I wanted to. So what I'm doing now is, see, I just realized it there. What I'm doing now is I'm loosening it to make it hang a little further down. And this is why I said I wish that in my circumstance I had had more ribbon on hand. This was all I had on hand. Because that way I could hang it lower and then tie it and make a nice little bow on either side. But no matter, it worked out for me. So I tied the top, and then I tied the arms to the bottom. And the bottom 2 roll holders, they're blocked by the strap. So I do lose those 2 on the bottom. But here it goes. Here's the final product. You can see on the left that I have the 2 rows where I can keep iron-on vinyl and regular vinyl. And it freed up drawer space in this cart for me. So now I have more storage in this one cart for the things I need. I'm super pleased with this result. I hope this tutorial is helpful and useful to you. And thank you for watching. Until the next time.